everybody. Welcome to our lesson here. This is Law Under Parents and Children, 2019 to 2020. So, objectives and standards. You will be able to understand the responsibilities for parents of children, and you will be able to explain different types of care provided by parents. Take a moment there to look at the standards, please. And desired result. What responsibilities are required of parents for children under the law? So the responsibilities between parents and children. A relationship between parents and children is special. While there are many rewards to having children, there are also many responsibilities. A legal obligation to care for, support, and discipline their children is a responsibility of parents. If parents cannot or will not fulfill these duties, then the law becomes involved. Issue of paternity. A person cannot be forced to marry somebody against his or her will, right? We kind of talked about that previously with the law and marriages. Marriages that are forced can be ruled invalid and could be annulled. However, when children are involved, both parents are legally required to provide support. Even if the parents are not married, both parents must provide for the child or children. If a man denies being the parent of a child, the child's mother may bring a paternity suit to court. This typically uses blood tests to establish fatherhood and to require the man to pay for child support. Most paternity tests are extremely accurate, although there have been errors in the past. Support and care. Most basic responsibilities of parents include supporting minor children. Parents must provide the necessities of life, things like food, shelter, clothing, and medical care, that minor children cannot provide for themselves. No matter the economic status of parents, rich or poor, they must provide these things for their child or children. The law is also making both mothers and fathers equally responsible for child support. Okay, so a court will establish, how much money each parent must pay if a divorce occurs, which may not be the same amount for both parents. Okay, so it might not be the same. Maybe the mom makes a little bit more, maybe the dad makes a little bit less. But either way, both parents are required to pay child support or to support the child. Okay, it's not put on one parent over another. Payments for child support typically end when the child turns 18. However, some states do require that parents provide post-secondary school support, such as the cost of college for their children. Children and emancipation. Financial money support is typically not required of parents for their adult children. When children become emancipated or free from the legal custody of their parents, responsibility of children typically ends. Children typically gain emancipation when they turn 18 years old. However, emancipation can also occur as a result of marriage, joining the armed forces, such as the Army or the Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, things of that nature, Marines, things like that, or if a child can support themselves financially on their own. Sometimes a court will grant emancipation to children who are minors still. To do this, a child must show, that's a typo there, but show or prove a steady source of income and a permanent place to live. Testimony may be heard by the child, their parents, or others to support or deny the claim. And emancipation is rarely granted to a minor, and even if it is, the child may not smoke or drink alcohol until of legal age to do so. They can't say, I'm 16 and I'm emancipated from my mom or dad, I can go out and do what I want. No, they still have to wait to do those things. Adult children family responsibility laws. There is a long tradition of law, along with social customs, that call upon adult children to care for their parents when they are in need. My mom, for example, decided to move back home with my grandmother because she's elderly and she's on dialysis and she needs some help cleaning and getting around and things like that. So my mom has decided to go home to help take care of her mother since my grandpa's not alive anymore. Now, most states do not require children to support their elderly or disabled parents. However, some states have passed family responsibility laws which require that adult children do care or care for their elderly parents. There are states that have abolished these laws, but most states limit the support obligation for which relatives can reasonably afford to care for elderly or disabled family members. Okay, so there is some type of structure put in place there to support family members from having to give all of their money or all their time and care to their elderly relatives or disabled relatives for that matter. Now, children and education. A right to a free and public education is guaranteed to all children in the United States. The standards for a public school system are set by each state. Parents also have a right to choose which type of school they want to send their children to, public, private, parochial, or to homeschool them. Attendance for school is required for children between the ages of 7 and 16. And again, parochial school is kind of like a religious school or a Catholic school. If you know what it is, just want to go back and go over that real quick. When a child misses school without justification, like an absent note, you might be familiar with that from school, an absence note, they are considered truant. Parents who fail to send their children to school may be fined or arrested. Schools also provide support for children with disabilities, whether they be physical, mental, or emotional. These children are required under law to receive specialized instruction, known as an individualized education plan or IEP, and or related services to help them benefit from their education. Support for medical care of children. Excuse me. The legal duty to protect and supervise the health of their child or children also falls to parents. Proper medical and dental care must be provided for by parents. A child cannot receive medical treatment without the permission of their parents. If a child is not cared for medically, parents can be charged with neglect if they ignore health problems with their child or children. Sometimes a court may permit a doctor to provide care for a child without the permission of their parents. Okay, so 16-year-old boy maybe falls and hurts his ankle and goes to the nurse after gym class or something like that. The nurse would have to wait for the parents to give permission typically, or a lot of times parents will sign a medical release form that says, yes, you can take care of my child. Other rights and responsibilities. No laws require that parents spend a certain amount of hours or time with their children. However, state laws govern the age at which a child may be left at home alone without supervision. The right and duty to discipline children also falls under parental responsibilities. I meant to look up the time for Pennsylvania there for supervision, but maybe you can look that up on your own. Children must obey and follow directions of their parents unless actions are harmful or dangerous to the child. If a parent abuses or neglects their child or children, which you'll see in another lesson coming up here soon, they may face legal consequences or have their children removed from their custody. Sometimes children run away from home and become known as status offenders. We've talked about that previous in our class with juvenile offenders and things like that, juvenile justice. Children who are status offenders may be placed under the supervision of the court and be required to do certain things, attend school, receive counseling, etc. Most states also hold parents responsible for the criminal actions of their children. If a child is charged with a crime, parents may be charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. What this means is, where were you? Why weren't you keeping an eye on your kid when they were, burning down the neighbor's house or something like that? What were you doing? Parents can also be held responsible in some states for damages caused by any driver in the family. This is known as, family car doctrine. So if you're driving a vehicle right now, you're able to, and you get into a car accident, hopefully not, and you cause the accident, your parents or your guardian could be held responsible for the damages if you cause the accident. Children who are old enough to work may also keep their earnings. There's laws that, say, your parents can't take your money that you gain and things like that. And parents have no rights to legally use money from their children that belongs to them, such as an inheritance. Let's say maybe your grandma or grandpa passes away and they leave you some money to put towards your college education or to buy a car. Your parents cannot take that money and use it on their own. Okay, as long as it's legally documented that your grandma or grandpa said, hey, I want Sammy or I want Johnny to use this money to go to school, and it's given to you, and they put it in a will or a legal document that they sign, your parents can't take that money and say, well, we want to take that money to go on vacation or something like that. They can't do that. That's illegal. All right, closure here. What responsibilities are required of parents for children in the law? Think about medical care, basic responsibilities, education. How does the law provide education? And think of some of the other criminal aspects that can happen too with children and parents as well. All right, and that'll help you answer your questions. Try your best on the questions that follow, and please let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I hope to talk to you all soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.